What's up, Quarter Pounders? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Wave Potter, and today's the day. Cluppo just released her first EP, Hatofull. I'm excited to check out these last 3 songs. Now we have double the amount of Cluppo songs that we did yesterday. So
break it down.
Let's check it out. Piano. Same but different. Love that. What a different sound for Cluppo. It's like jazzy and kind of funky with the jazzy piano, the funky guitar, and the brass. Like, this is such a different sound from anything I've heard from her so far. It's cool that she's, just like in Band-Maid, not letting the genre define her boundaries for the music. Literally making whatever she feels like making in this. Very cool. Oh, love her voice in that. Straight up funk jazz, man. Love those horns in there. Nice backing vocals there too, keeping that like a solid foundation of vocals underneath, but then she's doing her other lyrics on top. It's very cool. Once again, what I appreciate about Cluppo is that I can't help but move and dance when I'm listening to it. So I'm excited to add this entire EP to my workout list. It's the perfect length, 21 minutes, 23 seconds. That's how long I usually work out for, like, you know, on the bike. I should start doing it longer, but hey, 20 minutes is better than nothing. Anyway, this is going to be perfect for that. Some really cool guitar work in this. Really catchy lyrics, catchy vocals too. Cool drum break there. Her vocal tone is so beautiful, and she really wrote this song well for her voice to highlight the different registers in her voice that are really, you know, nice to listen to. Great falsetto during that part. That is so catchy. I love that. Something just not. It's so catchy. It's an earworm. And I gotta point out here, because I can't help it, FuwaFuwa and Voice, the next song, are the exact same length. That's interesting. I wonder if that was just a happy little accident. All right. What a soundscape. What a soundscape there with the funky palm muted guitars, the slidey bass, the brass accents, the funky jazzy drums. It makes me wonder because this is the first song that's like completely driven by actual organic instruments. It sounds like, unless it's just really great sample packs, but I would guess this is organic instruments. Makes me wonder if she called in some outside help from some of her friends. Are there credits available for this yet? Let me check. Hatofull. Oh, if I can type. Cluppo credits. Maybe it's still so new that it's not available yet. It just makes me wonder if like Akane, Konami, and Misa were involved at all, you know? Because there's such interesting instrumentation in that part. I gotta hear that again. Like these drums, they're so cool. With the offbeat, so jazzy here. Oh, and then this again. Yes. Was that a Miku's guitar solo? I need to figure out the credits for this. If any of you have found the credits, please comment below. I don't know if YouTube will let you post a link, but comment below like, I found this, and I'll respond to you and we'll figure it out, because I really want to know who's playing on these tracks. But I could I know Miku has a capability of playing that guitar solo. That'd be super cool if she's starting to do that. High note there too. This is so cool. This is way better than I expected. Way more interesting composition than I was expecting on this album, because I figured it would be mostly electronic driven, but that was so cool instrumentally. Like, it makes me really excited, and just like really expanding. I think this might be the catchiest and most musically interesting Cluppo song yet that I've heard of these first 4 songs. Of course, you know how it goes with these things. Your favorite is always the one you're listening to at the moment. So let's check out this next one, Voice. Synth bass now, with some really interesting dyads, chords on the guitar. Once again, so different. The soundscape that the guitars are creating in this, with those little high on the neck dyads, the doo-doo, both guitars like pan stereo, really cool soundscape. was not expecting such a rock sound for this chorus. Like, it had that snare buildup of, synthetic EDM style snare, and then it came in with like this rock beat. So interesting. Man, that bass is huge. Okay, if Misa's not playing bass on this, Miku definitely took inspiration from Misa for these bass lines, because the bass is starting on the low root, sliding up, doing octaves or harmonies with the root. Very cool bass. And I loved the synth bass sound in the beginning. That punchy, wah, 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 wah. Like, such a cool sound and dynamic of sounds throughout the song so far. Now this verse is like straight up rock. Got the chunky guitar in the left ear, palm muted, this cool drum pattern, and then still has the dyad chords on the right ear. I'm seeing a lot of parallels between this, the way it's mixed, the way it's put together, and band-maid stuff. Oh, her voice just makes me smile too. Hear that bass sliding? You hear also in the left ear, there's like a high guitar part with some kind of wah or filter on it that's going dun wah, like with the bass. It's like dun dun wah. Do you hear that? Also, the transition into that chorus was so interesting, because it had like that electronic drum kick again build up, but when you really think about it, that's something band-maid would also do. So it's really interesting to see these parallels. It's so different. It's such its own entity. It's very different from band-maid, but at the same time, kind of the same. To reference the last song, different but the same. Like, that is so interesting. Okay, I gotta go back a little bit. You hear that in the left ear? There's such a thick soundscape going on between the guitars on both sides panned. Like, the whole frequency spectrum is filled very nicely between the different instruments. Oh, and then we got some synth dancing around in the right ear too, like some keys, some kind of synth sound. What a fascinating sound. Another guitar solo. That was such a cool note choice to come in at the end of that solo. Those last two notes, one was a flat note to this chord, this progression, probably a seventh interval with the root note, and then resolved up back to the root note. That guitar solo, totally something Matt Bellamy would do, who's, one of my all-time favorite musicians on earth. Such a cool guitar solo. And I would probably I would bet that Miku is the one playing the guitar. I'm not for sure because I can't find the credits, but I could definitely see her playing this. Like, it's simple enough where it's not like insane. Like, she's definitely very capable of playing that. But it's also very melodically interesting to me. Great wah tone too. Interesting drums during that solo too. The way that last chorus just, like, everything cut out except the kick on the first downbeat, dun, 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 like, just blew out there. That was so cool. That's a tactic that's used a lot in EDM again, but then here it's applied to a rock situation, just giving it such a powerful entrance into this last chorus here. The guitar work, though, right here. Again, you got the chunky, crunchy guitars in the left ear. Then you got the more clean, higher-pitched strumming in the right ear, creating such a nice rock soundscape. I love that she's taking rock and electronic, mashing them together. Again, something Band-Maid does, but in such a unique, different way. Oh, that is so good. Oh, and then this chorus has everything else that was in the other choruses, but the guitar in the right ear is kind of playing what was happening during the guitar solo with the wah, the wad guitar. These are really complex drums too, with the offbeat hi-hat, but the actual drum pattern is stretched out, epic, huge, a lot of space between the kick and the snare, but the hi-hat's keeping that offbeat rhythm. That's a hard drum pattern to play. Like, I'm very impressed with how much effort cluppo put into this. Like, it's not just an electronic EDM project. It is straight up awesome rock music in these last two songs. The movement of that bass. Oh my gosh, I gotta hear that ending again. The movement of that bass line, though, just dancing around underneath the soundscape of the guitars. Both guitars now, both ears, clean, but playing different patterns, different notes to keep an interesting soundscape going while the bass keeps the rhythm, that bouncy. Oh my gosh, I gotta hear that. But am I the only one that could definitely hear Misa playing this bass line, but just with a bass synthesizer on it? Because they make pedals that take the signal of the bass, and when there's transients, it applies a synth sound like this to it, based on which shape of wave you want your bass to have. Another thing Muse uses sometimes, like the Hysteria bass line, iconic bass line, you think there's only fuzz on it, but he actually also had a bass synth applied to it to give it that extra punch you hear that makes it really bursty sounding. Ah, so interesting. It almost sounds like James Bondy here with the note choices. wow. Superstar. Come on, let's do this. It's like ska. This like laid back ska right here. What in the world? That intro was so fascinating. And once again, organic instruments. Like, she must have been easing us in, because Peace and Love and Flapping Wings were both pretty electronically driven. Pogo had some guitar driving it, but these last 3 tracks have so much cool guitar work. And also other instruments like the brass and the swingy, jazzy feel. So interesting. Not what I would have expected on this EP at all. Which is really cool that she caught us off guard with these last few songs. Okay, let's listen to this again. Even this intro is so different from what it leads into. That cool little hammer-on guitar lick right in there. Like you think you're coming into some mid-tempo. That build-up. Oh my gosh. Did you hear that little sound effect too that like led into everything coming in? That like just very subtle, but gave it that extra oomph. Okay, I gotta hear that whole thing again, just with those hi-hat chokes that build up. Dun, 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 dun. So interesting. Oh. Reminds me of Monsters and Men with, what's that song? Little Talks? So Sarah Cluppo in the left or the right ear there. Dude, there's straight up jazz piano in this verse. Once again, I gotta see these credits. This is so fascinating. Those piano and guitar licks. Really cool harmonies. Oh, so many smooth transitions from different parts of the song. But I gotta be honest, I was not expecting to have so much to notice and talk about listening to the rest of the Cluppo album. Like, this song, the composition is so layered. Like, this album just keeps building up, raising the bar. Because that whole set of what we just listened to was so musically fascinating. I gotta back it up. Just that alone, that cool unison hi-hat choke vamp between the super jazzy piano doing all kinds of really cool licks, the funky guitar doing really cool licks. This is so interesting. Oh, really fun drum pattern here. Kind of reminds me of You Can't Hurry Love. Dun, 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 dun. Except, you know, dropping a couple of notes, making it its own completely unique drum pattern, but with that same bouncy energy. Oh, and then this halftime shift just opens up everything. The rhythm of that part, dun, 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 like everything is syncopated on the offbeat, but it's so satisfying to listen to. And that soundscape with the strings and the piano, like, so interesting. Oh, the way the strings and piano sit at the top of the frequency spectrum and just make everything glisten in this part. Because that's something you don't get with just solid rock instruments, because everything is kind of in the mid-range. All the melodic instruments are in the mid to, you know, high mid, low mid range. But with this, adding those strings and pianos up in the upper registers just makes everything shiny and glistening. That almost sounded like Superstition, you know? Did anyone hear that? Love it. What a fun, bouncy song. That piano work is awesome. Oh. And then synth bass returns. That was cool. Okay, now I'm almost wondering if whoever is playing piano on these songs is also playing the synth bass just on a piano, because that was some pretty crazy, you know, bass riffage that for that kind of articulation, I would guess that's played on a keyboard. Love that rapping. There's so many Miku-isms in here with the sounds, the sound effects she makes, but her voice is still so standout in here. Like, she really can hold her own as a front woman singing. Love that. Oh, the movement of everything. Love that. Ah, such a cool drum rhythm there. That I gotta know who played drums on this. Oh, great build up into this with the vocals especially. Wow. That was a cool guitar solo too. It sounded like there's whammy and wah on that, which I don't know how you could control both of those at the same time. Maybe it was an auto wah, but I feel like there was definitely whammy pedal, like the notes going from a low octave up to a higher octave there. That was such an interesting guitar solo. And again, it sounded like simple enough where, like, and I'm not trying to bash Miku's guitar skills at all. Maybe she's like a secret, you know, crazy shredder that we don't know about, but like, you know, she's definitely, Konami's got a different style than her, but I could see Miku playing these guitar parts like very much within her capabilities to do these guitar solos. Great tone and cool underneath. The supporting instruments are really cool too. I love how the instruments underneath are just going up that one note. Dun, 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 dun. Like, gives it such an interesting sound all around, not just the guitar solo. It's like a waltz beat all of a sudden. Okay, I gotta hear that again to even try to wrap my head around that. That dynamic. Key change? That piano's super cool. Everything. Holy flippity dippity. What in the world just happened? That was so musically interesting, sonically interesting. The voice was beautiful. You got to hear so much of Miku's upper register raspy range. So satisfying. Like, who knew that the rest of these songs would push the bar so much for cluppo music? This makes me so much more excited to hear more of her stuff, because just the amount of effort put into this last composition alone is so impressive. I'm so impressed with Miku's composition here. And again, I'm really looking forward to seeing the credits for this music, because got some amazing musicians behind these tracks, these last three especially. Really excited to talk about this on Gaijin Guys. I know, you know, they weren't super impressed with the first set of cluppo music, but I think that these last three songs will really blow them away. I hope so. They did for me. So I don't know what else to say. It's very cool, very exciting. If anyone knows where to find the credits for this, please let me know. But otherwise, that's where I'm going to wrap it up. If you enjoyed this, pound the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when I put out new videos. I talk about band-maid a lot, and now I just became a super fan of cluppo. Very excited about this new EP, and especially for working out, this is just primo. All right. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time.